I'm not really sure how to begin this, but the title may make more sense after you hear my experience. I'll try to be as concise as possible. It was the summer of 2004, and my family was supposed to vacation in Kennebunkport, Maine. My father had to stay behind for a meeting and planned to join us from Manhattan a few days later. My mom decided we would drive up, a decision that annoyed my siblings and me at the time. We reluctantly loaded into the car and started the journey. The drive was uneventful, but delays caused us to arrive much later than planned. Because of this, the owners of the house we were renting had already gone to bed, and we couldn't get the keys. Apparently, they were strict about the pickup time frame. My mom, ever determined, decided we should get lobster at one of our favorite spots while figuring out a solution. She called my dad and asked him to make a hotel reservation for us in Kennebunkport. While we were eating, a man approached and started chatting with my mom. He seemed like a friendly local, just making conversation. My dad called back to say all the hotels were fully booked. It was peak vacation season after all. The new plan was to drive to a nearby town and find somewhere to stay until we could pick up the house keys. The man, who had been eavesdropping, offered a solution. He said he had a large home with a guest house we could stay in, and his wife wouldn't mind. My immediate reaction was an emphatic no way. Something about staying at a stranger's house in the middle of Maine at night felt wrong. My mom, however, decided to vet him. He claimed to work in finance, and since my mom was an investment banker, she quizzed him until she felt he was trustworthy. Despite my protests, we followed him to his house. The guest house was nice but oddly arranged. The bedrooms had beds placed under the windows, which struck me as strange. We started settling in, and my mom thanked the man when he knocked on the door to check if we were comfortable. But then he came back. And then again. By the third time, my mom firmly told him we were fine and didn't need anything. Something about his repeated visits made us uneasy. Around 2 a.m., I couldn't sleep. Suddenly we heard rustling outside, which was strange since the guest house wasn't near trees or bushes. My mom motioned toward the window, and when I looked, I froze. There was a man standing outside, staring in. When he walked away, my mom told us to grab our things quietly. She called my dad, who was now flipping out. My mom loaded our bags into the car, and we left. Before driving off, she stopped by the main house to return the keys and thank him. But when we got there, everything was dark. No lights in the house, no porch light, nothing. Both cars, including the one the man had driven, were gone. It looked like no one had been home for days. As we reached the gate, we found it padlocked shut from the inside. My mom, now visibly shaken, followed my dad's advice and rammed through the gate with our SUV. We drove straight back to New York City in silence. We never returned to Maine. My parents refused to discuss what happened. Years later, I asked a family member about it, and they drunkenly revealed that the actual owners of the house had been on vacation. To this day, I don't know who that man was or what his intentions were. I've often wondered if there were any known serial killers or criminals in the area at the time. Whatever it was, I'm just glad we left when we did.